Makati here. Today we are going to talk about our Dragon Shaman build. Now originally this came out slated to be a Fire Dragon Shaman utilizing Flame Breath, but with an 1800% nerf to Flame Breath damage on launch, we've decided to pivot. And so on day one we tested a lot of things. We played with a combination of Wolf and Bear skills. We played with volcanoes. We played with Molten Blast or Rolling Magma. In the end, the skill that really stood out the most, especially low gear and in the campaign, was just Rend. Rend is the basic default attack that Wyverns get. Rend is a very, very strong skill that gives us a high attack damage, good attack speed, and if you have a power charge is buffed to do 150% more area of effect, as well as 50% of damage gained as lightning. This makes it incredibly strong for clear, incredibly strong for single target, and really carried us through the majority of the campaign. Now, once we got leveled up a little bit, we started playing with skills like Oil Barrage. And Oil Barrage gives us absolutely ridiculous amounts of single target damage through the empowered version, assuming you have 3 power charges in order to channel it for the full duration. In order to gain those power charges, we prime targets for stun with Furious Slam, and then we wing blast them, which gives us a surpassing chance to gain power charges against unique enemies, giving us 3 power charges every time we wing blast a target that is primed for stun. And so that's the kind of the gameplay that we have ended on. As we're moving into mapping, Rend is falling off a little bit in damage, but we have scaled it up with some AoE, as well as close combat and rapid attacks. Concentrated effect should not be in there. There's different support for that. But Rend is definitely coming along good for clear, but much less in single target. And so we're leaning much more into Oil Barrage for single target, especially against tanky rares. Thankfully, through Devour, we have unlimited power charges through all of our map clear, and so we can Oil Barrage and Rend as much as we want to. Devour is also our primary defensive metric on the build. We can consume up to 3 corpses at one time, giving us 262 life over 3 seconds. We've got more than 200% increased life regeneration, making this nearly 1,000 life per second every time we devour a corpse. And so if we are devouring a corpse once every 3 seconds and there are corpses available, we're basically unkillable because the regeneration offsets so much damage that we have to deal with. And so this becomes both a very potent damage layer as well as a very good source of power charges for our build. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some of the campaign bossing and go over the build guide. Thanks, smash. Got him. down. Way over there, sir. I keep trying to eat the corpses of those guys, and they don't leave corpses. That's what we get stunned as soon as we walk in. the boss fight. Got him. Get quiet, high priest of the sun. The Dreadnought Vanguard. That still feels really tanky for our real lack of gear. I think the average eye level of my gear is 12 right now. not lag in the middle of the boss fight. Got him. I'm not sure magma hits this guy. Correct. cheater. Oh, cheater.
his face off.
Face off. Cut his face off. No, my rage is decaying. I need my rages. Cheater. Cheater with the immune phases. Demora, flash thy titties. Got him. Standing in the way of my next set of loot. Our wolves got the stun on him, so we didn't get a wing blast. Oil all over. Ask the fallen side. Alright, so let's take a look at our max roll guide here. So the build will be broken up into two sections for now. It'll be a current in-game character, which is where we are today as of the end of day one, and our goals for where we're going to be taking the character. Now the build still has a lot to flesh out, and so we will be updating it. I want to include a weapon swap to maximize area of effect for clear, and to add in a curse for debuffing on a boss, and then a single target weapon swap strictly for Oil Barrage on boss for maximum damage. But we'll take a look at the passive tree first. So our passive tree is fairly straightforward. We're going to go right up the tree, take damage and regen nodes as we come up. We go across here and we take a rage node here, we take skill speed and damage here, we take regen here, and then obviously Zealot's Oath, which is the focus of the build. A lot of these life regen nodes are generic percentage life regen nodes because they scale our Devour recovery, which is huge for the build. We're swinging up in here and taking more physical damage, and we take a lot of physical damage on the tree because we are primarily a phys damage build with a little bit of conversion to elemental damages. Obviously, Hide of the Bear here is great for a max fire res. Since we're utilizing Cloak of the Flame, we're going to want to take max fire res every opportunity we can. You can see here we do have max fire res on our jewels, and ideally we're going to have as much max fire res as possible. We come down here and we get extra fire damage here. We get extra cold damage over here. Well, we will be getting extra cold damage over here. We get extra fire damage over here, and then we're going to come down here and take Fulmination for increased damage against ignited enemies, and reduced ignite magnitude here, reduced ignite magnitude on us here. and then increased armor, increased damage, and more max fire res while ignited here. And so the tree is fairly straightforward. You are literally just going to go along the tree and take everything as you go. There's nothing that you have to rush for and no high priorities. And then once we have a weapon swap in here, we'll make everything adjusted for our weapon swaps. Now for our skills, we are utilizing primarily Rend and Devour for clear. Empowered Rend makes it lightning charged and causes it to do a tremendous amount of damage in a much larger area of effect. And we get those power charges by devouring corpses. We're using Herald of Ash to assist with clear, Savage Fury for single target, and Barkskin for additional defenses here. For single target, we are going to rely on Pounce, followed by Rend for rage, Furious Slam for breaking armor, Wing Blast for breaking the primed armor from Furious Slam, and then Oil Barrage for killing the boss. Eternal Rage is here to assist with our rage generation, although this may change as we consider stacking some heralds for additional clear, depending on how good we can get our AoE here on Rend. For leveling the build, you're going to start off in Act 1 with Volcano and Furious Slam, then you're going to switch over to Pounce with Wing Blast, Furious Slam, and Rend, and then Act 3 we will add in Pounce with Wing Blast, Oil Barrage, and Rend. For our supports for these skills, you'll see the ones down here that you can use. You also have the ones listed up here. And Spirit Gems are going to be Barkskin, Savage Fury, and Herald of Ash in Act 1. And then once you get your third ascendancy, you can add in Eternal Rage. You'll need the third ascendancy for sacrificing the charm slots to get the 120 spirit necessary for Eternal Rage and Vitality. Your skill rotation, as we saw in the video, is going to be Pounce, Rage for Furious Slam for Prime Stun, Wing Blast for power charges, and then Oil Barrage for kill here. For our gear, we're looking for fairly simple gear right now. This is going to be a Fizz Talisman with added Fizz Extra, attack speed, and melee skills. Max Roll Guide does not allow us to put multiple essences on an item, and I'll make a separate crafting video for this talisman later. But it will be a Essence of Battle, Essence of Onslaught, Desecrated Attack Speed with Fizz Damage, Flat Fizz Essence, and damages extra Fizz Essence on it. Then for our helmet, we're just looking for Life, Armor, ES, Resistances, Rarity if you can, Amulet, Life, Increased Max Life, Prod skills for single target damage, melee skills if you want more clear, resistances, damage taken, recouped as life is also nice. We do carry quite a bit of it on the tree. And then increased global defenses for armor and ES. Our rings, we're looking for Fizz to attacks, life, resistances, and rarity. And then this should not be increased mana leech. It should just be mana leech. Originally, I was toying with putting mana leech. There we go. Originally, I was toying with putting blood magic in the build and just ignoring mana, but we utilize so little mana that just any amount of mana leech in our gear is sufficient to keep our mana afloat, or just using a mana flask. Rend is free, Oil Barrage costs very little mana. And so at the end, blood magic was nothing but just removing an unnecessary cost and spending a passive point. For our body armor, it is Cloak of Flame. We are going to be using Cloak of Flame, period. That is going to be the best item in the game for us. It synergizes very well with our damage taken as off of our ascendancy and damage taken as on the tree. We're currently reducing 70% of all physical damage into elemental damage, carrying high elemental resistances to reduce those damages, and so it'll be Cloak of Flame. There is a small chance that at very high gearing we do switch over to a Lightning Coil, because Lightning Coil gives us the ability to apply effects via its meta skill that's tied to it, but it's going to be much cheaper, much easier just to get a 50%, get a high percent fire res Cloak of Flame, corrupt it for 3 sockets, and then run life sockets in there. For our gloves, we're going to be using Armor ES gloves with max life on them, ideally with plus melee skills, increased attack speed, and a Consecrated Leeches instant. That's going to be huge for survivability. For our belt, we want a plate belt with armor, max life, and resistances on it. And for our boots, we want move speed, armor, energy shield, life, and resistances on them. In game, we're obviously going to be looking at exceptional versions of these with increased effective sockets in them and running some different sockets. But this is good enough to get you started for gearing up the build right now. Now, if you have any questions over anything, come by Twitch, come by YouTube, ask. I'm happy to help. And that brings us to the end of this Path of Exile guide. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate every single one of you that tunes in. Your support is what keeps this channel going and helps me bring content about Rayclast. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please take a minute to smash the like button. It helps the video reach more people. And if you want to stay updated with all the latest build guides, league mechanics, shenanigans, be sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the build or what you'd like to see next. Until next one, stay safe.